Hi, it's Carter, president of Constitutional Rights PAC, constitutionalrightspac.com, cr-pac.com. Go there, sign up for the free morning newsletter, everything you need to know about what's going on, and my inside scoop, inner circle, private personal email every afternoon, okay? Where I tell you what's going on behind the scenes, okay, inside Washington. This is a very special edition of the report, because we are at a historical moment, okay? A moment in history which I put up there with the assassinations, lived through one, seen another attempted, which came very close to replicating the first, blowing a president's brains out on live TV, which I don't think was accidental, but I'm not getting into that, because we're going to talk right now about the coup that got rid of Joe Biden, okay? That's ridding us of Joe Biden. I have several thoughts on it. I have written them all down, okay? Hopefully I won't miss on anything, because it's information you need to know. Maybe a little longer of this report than usual, so I've brought my coffee with you. Might want to grab your own. Folgers. What happened with toxic Joe Biden was not something he and his vicious, voracious wife had planned whatsoever. No. That's what makes this such a serious moment in history. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not even sure Biden at this moment knows what was done. I think he's that far gone, and I've said that for quite some time. What you had was a letter issued in his name on Twitter, of all places. No official presidential seal on the letter. A letter that Joseph Robinette Biden could not have written, and probably could not have even read, quite frankly, to tell you the truth. I mean, that's what it is. A letter written by whom we don't know, but we do know that it essentially removed a sitting president from office. Now, what do I think happened? And this will feed into the fact that we now have cackling Kamala Harris as the likely nominee for the Democrat Party. Horrifying thought. We'll get into that a little later. But I think with Biden, the top Democrats, Pelosi, Schumer, probably Obama, all the rest of them, kept going to him saying, Joe, you got to resign. Joe, hey, Joe, knock, 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 knock. Joe, here, look at me. You've got to resign. To which Joe says, I'm good. And Joe sat beside him and said, Joe's okay. He's doing great. You know her. Anything for the money, the power, and the glory. So they kept going to him over the past week when he was, having his phony COVID attack. I mean, look, let me tell you something. If you saw him walk up the steps to Air Force One, that was not a sick man. That was a man whose spirit had been broken. Okay? Watch it over and over again. So they kept coming to him saying, Joe, you have to resign. No. I'm like, I mean, that's where he is. And Joel, holding his droll cup, said, Joe is fine. Stop it. And so finally they came to him and said, Joe, you will resign, or we will take you out with the 25th Amendment, declaring you demented and in advanced stages of senility and Alzheimer's. Those are your choices. You resign, or we take you out. I believe that's what happened, okay? Matter of fact, the sources I have said, that's exactly what happened. While angry Joe sputtered and shook his fist and refused, till finally they wrote the statement for him and said, you put your signature right here. We're going to let you stay in office till the end so you can leave with dignity. First time in history, I think, a president who did not come in after the death of another president, has ever just outright resigned, said, I'm not running again. So the letter came out. Who wrote it, we don't know. Whether Biden even knows it's gone out, we have no idea, unless Jill and Hunter pounded it into his head. But we do know this. It was done in a despicable manner. Instead of him facing the nation, which maybe he just can't do, okay? Now, that feeds us into the follow-up message from Toxic Joe, that he was endorsing Kamala Harris, which, quite frankly, I think is preposterous. I think Jill Biden hates Kamala Harris. As a matter of fact, we know she hates her from the moment she accused Joe of being a racist in the Democrat debate way back in 2020. And so I think what you had there was Jill and Joe getting together, maybe talking with the cokehead, maybe not, and deciding, let's get our revenge. They forced you out, Joe, so let's teach them a lesson. I think what they said to Joe was, we want an open convention. I think that's what Pelosi said, what Obama said, what Schumer said, the other Democrat Party leaders. I don't think they're leaders. They're just slimy, smarmy politicians. We just want an open convention. Okay, that's how we're going to resolve the Harris problem, because she is a problem. And I think Joe, after the fact, Joe and Jill decided, we're going to get our revenge. We'll show them. We'll show them. And Joe sent out the second message endorsing Kamala Harris, of all people, and creating a mess. Okay? Now, no open convention. I think they had probably already talked to RFK. I think they had talked to Gavin Newsom out there in California. Set the ball rolling. Open convention. Maybe even Michelle Obama. To get around the Harris problem. She's crazy, which they all knew. And so Joe got his revenge. He destroyed even the perception of democracy in the Democrat Party, because keep in mind, they are now stuck with likely having to nominate Kamala Harris, of all people, who never got one primary vote. Joe just delivered them to him. And remember, this is the same party who, since Joe's 2022 Reichstag fire speech in Philadelphia, where he kept screaming, democracy, we have to have democracy. And then Pelosi would say, democracy, we need democracy. Remember, they came up with that as their buzzword. It ain't democracy when you just hand somebody all the votes, that none of which was for that person. That's not democracy. Not the way the system's supposed to work. So now they have two problems. One, they have a president who has, in his letter, he never said why he was resigning, but it's become kind of obvious, and they now have a president that the entire country, the entire world knows is too demented to run for re-election. And yet the Democrats are telling us, but he's okay to be president. Wait a minute, he's too demented and senile and out of touch with reality to run for re-election, but he's okay to be the president of the United States, the leader of the free world. That's what the Democrats, those in favor of democracy, are telling us. Do you think how many Americans do you think believe that or want that? Democracy is majority rule, and I think maybe you can count on one hand the number of Americans who really think Biden should be in the presidency. But he is till next January 20th. Then they have the Kamala Harris problem. Just a woman who, her track record is devoid of any accomplishment. They talk about democracy. If you recall, when she ran for president, she got the most she ever tallied in a primary was 4%. And she couldn't even carry the black vote while running around screeching about being black when she's not. Okay? So they're stuck with this woman who also, every American knows, repeatedly lied about the conditions she saw Biden in. Watch for the interview. It was on, check out Mark Levin's commentary yesterday, where he plays her entire interview where she keeps saying, he's sharper than anyone you know. He's sharper than me. When we're in meetings, it's Joe who makes the final decision. I know because I'm right there, and his mind is right on top of everything. She joined in a conspiracy of lies. She and her fellow Democrats, and of course the lickspittle media, the mainstream lickspittle media, about which we'll talk more later. So you have this woman who was put in charge of the border and let in 15 million illegal alien invaders, and I don't think ever visited the border. When asked about it, you recall she said that, I've been to borders in Europe. Pardon me? Yeah, that's what we got from her. Okay? There's nothing. Search her record. It's devoid of accomplishment anywhere except her notorious accomplishment with the former mayor of San Francisco, which I'm not going to get into because we all know about it, and it's repulsive and disgusting. But it is the very essence of Kamala Harris. It's how she rose up through the ranks, so to speak. Another problem they have, she hates Israel. This woman, Biden betrayed Israel just because Biden betrays everybody. That's what he does. I worked with him in the Senate. He was vile back then. Everybody told me you can't trust anything he says, so don't count on it. And he betrayed Israel, but this woman hates Israel, and she makes it clear she has endorsed the violent Palestinian protest, which we know the lickspittle media calls them, which have been riots, and the harassment and brutality against Jewish students in our colleges. So this is what they're now left with to nominate, which gets us to her VP pick. People are asking me, what about her VP pick? My prediction is Buttwig, okay, however the hell he pronounces his name. A truly repulsive figure who was chosen by the deep state to run for president back in 2020, and who was chosen by the deep state to be the failed Secretary of Transportation. I don't even think the guy knows how to drive, let alone be Secretary of Transportation. His biggest contribution was saying he's going to rid the country of racist roads. I have a road in front of my house, Blacks and White Drive on it. Queen Street abuts my road to my house. I see blacks and whites on it, Latinos, everybody, all the time. I don't know what a racist road is, but Pete Buttwig and I guess and his husband are going to get rid of him. But it's the Democrats with their bean counting, their DEI obsession. Okay, we've got a black woman for president. Let's get a gay for vice president. Then we get all the votes. Okay, well, that's my prediction. I could be wrong. Let's see what happens. There's no use belaboring that. But here's the problem we have, though, and it's a very serious problem. I want to make sure all of you are aware of it. This really puts Michigan and Pennsylvania, as far as I'm concerned, and I could be wrong, but I think unless the Trump people are really prepared for a nasty, vicious election, could put Pennsylvania and Michigan in the Democrat column because of the cheating that will occur in Michigan, in Detroit, and in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, Harrisburg, and York. Expect the Democrats to claim that 90% of the blacks voted in those cities, and over 90% voted for Kamala. It won't be true. It won't be anywhere near true. Doesn't have to be. They've shown they know how to stuff the ballot box. They know how to falsify signatures on absentee ballots. So the RNC better be ready for that. The RNC better be ready for that. And quite frankly, I'm not sure they are, because it's going to be a very difficult battle. Because anything they say, they'll be accused of what Kamala Harris's favorite accusation is. That's racism. Racism. That's what we're going to get. So this is a very, very serious turn of events here that could put two of the battleground states into play. So I want you to keep an eye on that. There's a gentleman who I've told you about before, Bill Wilson, the greatest political strategist in America. If you hear he's been hired by the RNC, you'll know we can take care of the problem in those two states. If not, you better have some fear and loathing, because tough times are coming. Tough times are coming. So we now have a politician with no track record of any success running for president of the United States because of a coup. And we have let me check my notes here, make sure I covered everything for you, because it's very important. It's very important. We have a situation where the Democrat Party now is going to build around Kamala Harris, and this, I'm going to finish up with this, build around Kamala Harris an aura of greatness, okay? Of course, Joe Biden, too, the grand old man. The grand old man. They may even get so many drugs in him they can trot him out at the Democrat convention. But Kamala will be the focal point. It's her greatness, her incredible track record in California, lies, her incredible track record as vice president, more lies. It doesn't matter. The Democrats are going to position her as the first black woman president. And if you don't vote for her, well, you're nothing but a racist and a woman hater. You're a misogynist. Okay? So that's where we are. That's where we are with this woman. And then, and the mainstream lickspittle media is going to create one fiction after another about Kamala Harris. They're going to doctor every interview. They're going to paintbrush every picture so that you think this is a goddess, okay? The lickspittle media is already on the job, and wait till you see. She will be the next the Joan of Arc. You might even start seeing a halo appear around her head in the lickspittle media. That's what we're going to be getting. And the lies, and I'm going to finish with this, the lies they tell about Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are going to be simply appalling. They are going to be framed as the worst racists in the history of the world, and women haters on top of that. Racist women haters. Could you be worse than that? There's nothing worse than that. They're going to tell us what they're sitting there like it's, they give us the afflatus from on high, the message from heaven that these two men are racist women haters. Aren't they, Wolf Blitzer? Yes, they are. He always looks like he's trying to keep from passing gas, doesn't he? Then you got Jake Tapper, who, should be out bussing tables somewhere. These are racist women. And of course, that vile Caitlin Collins. I never saw a woman that hates men more than her. Racist women haters. That's what we're going to get. So prepare yourself for it. Be ready to fight it. This is going to be the most vile campaign in American history. And it's up to each of us, okay, as CR PAC warriors, as patriots, to get out there and say, no, we're cutting through the Democrat lies and the lickspittle media propaganda, and we're going to tell the truth. We will proclaim the truth throughout the land, and the truth will prevail. That's what we've got to say. So I'm urging you, don't give up as it gets tougher and tougher. Don't give out. Don't give in. Stay tough, and let's do this thing.